Today I'll be reading you Little Red Riding Hood. See Little Red Riding Hood sitting over there? Let's start our story. Once upon a time, a long time ago, there was a little girl who lived with her parents in a cottage on the edge of the forest. Right in the middle of the forest was another cute little cottage. That was where the girl's grandmother lived. The old lady loved the girl so much she made her a red cloak with a red hood to match. The cloak looked so nice that the little girl wore it all the time, and that is why everybody called her Red Riding Hood. One day, grandmother fell ill, so Red Riding Hood's mother baked her a cake and made her some fresh butter. "Take this cake to grandmother. A visit from you will cheer her up," said the mother. So Red Riding Hood went off down the path to the grandmother's cottage. Soon she met a wolf. "What have you got in your basket?" he asked. "I have cake for my grandmother who lives in the forest." The wolf licked his lips. "How I would love to gobble up this little girl. But if I am clever, I can eat her grandmother as well." "We will both go visit your grandmother," said the wolf. The girl thought that would be fun. She saw some pretty flowers and stopped to pick a few. The big bad wolf said goodbye and raced off. The wolf reached the cottage and knocked on the door. "Who is that?" cried grandmother. "It is only me, Red Riding Hood," replied the wolf. "Come right in," the old lady called. The wolf bounded in and gobbled poor grandmother up. The wolf quickly found grandmother's spare nightdress and her nightcap, so he put them on as fast as he could and then closed the curtains to darken the room. Then he jumped into the bed and waited there for Red Riding Hood to come. At last the little girl reached the cottage door and knocked on it. "Who's there?" the wolf called, doing his best to make his voice sound like grandmother's. "It's Red Riding Hood. I brought you some cake and fresh butter." "Come right in," the big bad wolf called. "Why, grandmother, what big ears you have," said she. "All the better to hear you with," the wolf cried. "Why, grandmother, what big eyes you have." "All the better to see you with," the wolf grinned. "Why, grandmother, what big teeth you have." "All the better to eat you with," snarled the wolf. He jumped out of the bed and went after Red Riding Hood. The poor little girl screamed at the top of her voice as the wolf tried to grab her and gobble her up. What could she do to escape? A woodcutter was chopping wood in the forest nearby, and he heard Red Riding Hood's screams. He ran as fast as he could. Finally, he found the little cottage and jumped through the open window to see what was going on inside. He saw the wolf and guessed what happened. He made him spit out the poor grandmother and then chopped the wolf in two. Red Riding Hood and grandmother were saved, and they all lived happily ever after. Good night. Sleep tight.